Hello, welcome back. I'm Miniature Mike, and we've done about 5 of these so far. So we're going to be jumping into the 6th set, Bounty Hunters. Really fun one. Lots and lots of fringe characters going on in here. As the name implies, lots of bounty hunters, scum and villainy, a lot of good stuff. But I hope you guys had a chance before you watch this one. Please go back and check out my other videos I've put out. I've done tier lists for the first 5 sets. Rebel Storm, Clone Strike, Revenge of the Sith, Universe, and Champions of the Force. Um, really cool and interesting ones there. Definitely the latter sets in the bunch are more fun, more interesting, really cool characters. But please go back and take a look at those. And again, if you haven't yet, if you like these and you want to get more, please like, subscribe, please comment. I'd love to get some discussion about what your thoughts are with just kind of the tier lists and maybe just some of the characters inside and kind of what your thoughts are about these sets in general. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the first one is the ISP Speeder. I'm not a fan of this thing at all. So there's several problems. It's expensive. It does have double and twin because this set introduces twin attack. So that's great. It can get a lot of shots off, I guess. But he's rigid. He does have flight, but he doesn't have like damage reduction 10. I'm almost shocked he doesn't have it. He costs almost as much as an X1 Viper droid, and in my opinion, he is significantly worse. Like, I think these things are awful. So, and again, there aren't very many of these types of vehicles for Republic, but I wouldn't choose this one. Too low of defense, too low of hit points. Doesn't even have like mobile attack. These things will get shredded if you try to use them. So I think these are awful. Hard pass. These ones are a little different. So the Commerce Guild Spider Droid. So I kind of struggled with this because while he can have high attack and high damage, and he has accurate shot. Penetration 20 is pointless, but at least he has it. I'll take it. And speed 8's okay. Again, his issues is kind of similar to the other one. However, he's faster. He can shoot whoever he wants, and he will do that damage. But I just worry that his hit points and his defense is just a little bit too low to be kind of something that I want. So I think it's better than the ISB Speeder, but I'm going to just stick it in C tier. I originally put it... I did put it in C tier. Good. I was worried that I put this thing higher than that in my original tier that I prepared for this. These guys, though, are a little different. I'm going to put them in B tier. I think they're a very solid, just all-around droid tank. Because you have damage reduction, you have good hit points, and then you also have good damage output, double attack and 30 damage. So I'm a fan of these. I think they're just a solid, big, fat, separatist tank. They'll do some work for you. Don't have too much of an issue with these at all. They're not like game breakers or anything, but very nice. A droid starfighter in walking mode. So these guys are very, very interesting. Initially, I really, really liked these guys, but they got a few problems. So they have just so many tools at their disposal. They have penetration, great. They have twin and double, fantastic. Missiles 40, that's really awesome. And they're kind of expensive. So the issues with them I have are these. Expensive, and not very many hit points, and bad defense. So the fact that they have damage reduction 10 is helpful, but for 50 points almost, it's just not enough. It's not going to cut it. Like, I'd much rather have the corporate line tank droid that's less flashy, but it's just much more hardy. Going to do a lot better. But part of me wants to like these guys. Like, maybe they can work if you kind of stick them in the back. I mean, I'm going to put them above these just because it just has a lot more going for it, a lot more different options than the Commerce Guild, not the Commerce Guild, the Homing Spider Droid. It even has damage reduction 10, which is nice. So while part of me likes aspects of this, they're problematic, super problematic. I'd prefer to have like a B3 battle droid, which is kind of like the same thing, honestly, but slimmed down, cheaper, still pretty strong, but not quite as fragile. So unfortunately, these guys are C tier. Huge crab droid, so I think these things are pretty amazing in some ways. So they need a little bit of help. So I love how they have good hit defense, great hit points, high damage, and they're kind of like a savage creature. They kind of rush up, They can do that damage, high attack, 40 damage, and then they can do it again. And as you know, since these are droids and the separatists, you can buff them and make them do all sorts of crazy things, and they can also shoot. So it's pretty easy to forget sometimes that these are not melee attackers. Like they can actually take shots and stuff too. So I like them. I'm gonna put them below the Commerce Guild droid. Actually, that's not Commerce Guild. It's Banking Clan tank. Oh boy, I'm forgetting these already. Getting the separatists mixed up, pretty easy to do. So I'm gonna put these below. Like they have potential, and they're not too expensive. So if you put them in the right squads, you can get some really fun things out of them. But B tier is fine. Chewbacca and C-3PO. So I have a few feelings about this. Solid stats. He costs the same as typical what Chewbacca does, and he kind of does two things. He's either going to be one of those rush up, use momentum, use cleave. He does have double attack, so that's nice to have. I guess. But then he also has C-3PO's draw fire. So if you want, you can also make people shoot him, I guess. When I have draw fire people, typically I want them to be people I'm okay kind of diverting fire to or dying. And I don't know if I feel that way towards this Chewbacca. I think originally I probably put him in B tier. So for 30 points, in some ways, if you want to use him as that bodyguard type of character, the Universe one does technically have that. He's a bodyguard. This guy's draw fire, which can be pretty nice too, but it just kind of depends on what you want for the use. I think he's definitely a B tier character, but I'm going to put him low B tier. He is versatile, but maybe not in the ways I like, because I think the other Chewbacca, I think he has a little bit more hit points. He doesn't have double attack, so it's nice that he has this. So definitely B tier. I don't love him as much as the other one. I think it's probably just bias, but definitely a solid option if you want to kind of use him for these purposes. Han Solo Scoundrel. I struggled with this, so originally I put him as A tier, but if you really think about it, he's kind of the ultimate Han Solo. He's got mobile, twin, evade, cunning, accurate, so he can kind of move around and he can hit whoever he wants whenever he wants to. Especially if he goes first, he's going to ruin them. Then he has a force, so he costs 46, so he costs similar stats as the other Han Solos, except you are adding quite a few good things like twin and evade. Evade's awesome for Han Solo, but for some reason, I think for me, it's just the fact that he only has 80 hit points, which isn't a problem. He just seems a little expensive, just a hair expensive for what I want. But I'll admit this type of Han Solo is fantastic, awesome. He kind of feels like Boba Fett without flight, to be honest. So I'll put him at A tier. I may bump him up to S tier, to be honest, completely frank. But we'll leave him here for now. He's definitely qualifies for S tier, but something is just kind of holding me back. Luke Skywalker of Dagobah, so he's gonna fall. I should like this guy more, so he costs a lot for what he does. So not great stats for a 30-point piece, but he can shoot, and he has blaster barrage, and he has sweep. I don't think sweep makes much sense in this case because blaster barrage is almost the same thing but better, kind of. So I think with me, it is kind of nice that he can shoot a lot of targets and all that stuff, but I'm not a fan of him at all. I'm really not. Crappy stats. He has double attack, great, and then he can shoot everyone a lot, but this is not what I want from. This is not a character that I want. He doesn't work for me. Not a fan. Princess Leia of Hoth. So now she's pretty good. Commander effect is great. Quarter of the time you're going to be resurrecting your people. That's not insignificant, I should say. So she has mobile. She has advantageous attack. So decent stats. Leia typically has low defense, but this will work. So I think for what she does, she's can be a really pivotal part of a lot of Rebel squads. Rebel Captain. So these kind of fill that Trooper Captain, Trooper Commander role, but for the Rebel Troopers. But I don't love them. You're giving a terrible unit twin attack. That, in my opinion, is not really going to move the needle at all. Themselves have twin attack and Deadeye, which is fine. But their stats are terrible. Like, I'd much rather have one of the clone commanders. Heck, I'd even rather have like a stormtrooper commander for far less and similar stats. So I'm not a fan of these guys. I think they are C tier, like bottom of C tier, but that's as far as I can go with them. Let's take a look at where I originally set these. So I originally actually put this guy above. I'm gonna put him below. I just don't love the Rebel Troopers. I don't love trying to buff them too much, and these guys don't do it for me. A heavy Rebel Trooper. These guys are going all the way down here. Yeah, I'm gonna put them below. Um, I'm not a fan of these. Heck, I'd even prefer the Seleucamite Troopers, who have more defense and more attack, and they cost the same. Actually, no, they may cost 12. No, uh, I guess if you can give them twin attack, that's kind of cool. You can make some things happen. Don't get me wrong. You can do great combinations with any characters, even if they are C tier or D tier. But these guys definitely don't float my boat. Snow speeders are good, so I'm going to put them above all these vehicles. Again, maybe it doesn't seem like the most hit points, but they have damage reduction 10. Good. They have flight. And then they have mobile and crazy speed. So these guys can be pop in, pop out, get some damage in, can potentially nullify the enemy, stuff, mount weapon stuff, which is okay. But I kind of love these guys' stuff. So I think they're definitely top of high B tier. A little clunky because they are huge, but probably one of the better huge characters in this entire set. Probably maybe the best, except one exception. Lord Vader, so he's going to be our first S tier. Again, this guy reminds me of Darth Maul, Champion of the Sith, where he's the glass cannon of Darth Vader's, and he's incredible at doing that. So, as you notice, his stats are just a little below what Darth Vader usually is. He has all the bells and whistles, but he has twin instead, which is kind of nice. And then when it comes to force powers, he has so many incredible options for just overwhelming your enemy. So he has Renewal, Massive Force 2, so you can use two things. Leap is fine if you want to use it for certain reasons to kind of get to a target. He has Assault, which can unlock him doing 4 attacks, because you make 2 attacks, and for each one you get an extra. So 4 attacks, moving is fantastic. He has Rage, so you can add more. He has Overwhelming Force, so people can't block you. It just means you'll sacrifice Rage likely, but still, it's so strong, so strong. Again, his attack is really good over the most part, but his combination of force powers means that his kind of melee offensive, just firepower is just overwhelming. It's just truly overwhelming. So even though this is a little low, I think he's clearly S tier. If you use him correctly, same with Thrawn, I don't know, you're gonna be massacring certain characters very harshly. So I'm a big fan of this guy. I remember pulling him when I was younger, and just thinking he was one of the coolest characters. Probably one of the more rare Vaders, honestly. And his commander effect's fine. It seems a little random and tacked on, but it's good. Talon card, so he's a good New Republic per person. Having the recon, disruptive and twin is nice to add on. He's not going to do much for you in the way of shooting, but his recon will be helpful. And then fringe reserves, even if you just hit once, it's worth it. So he's definitely an A tier character. I'm trying to figure out. Let's see. Where did I originally put him in top of B tier. I don't know. I think he's a pretty underrated character, to be honest. I think he's really good for the New Republic. Having both of those powers is pretty awesome. But should he be top of B tier? He can't do offensive stuff. It's nice that he's disruptive. He's a good recon piece with fringe reserves. I'm going to put him in I think he deserves it. Low A tier, but nice. That's a pretty fun person. Okay, so these are fun. I like melee people on fringe with stealth. And even if they do 10 damage, that's okay as long as they have opportunist. So this guy reminds me of a better Ithorian scout. This guy's got a lot more going for him, frankly. Better stats. He has Black Sun, which can be nice with Caesar, because then he has Grenade 20, which is incredible for a 7-point piece. Oh my gosh. And then he can kind of pounce on you with opportunists, with solid attack for opportunists. So I think for 7, these guys are pretty underratedly solid. So I'm going to definitely stick them high B tier. For how much they cost, if you put them in the right squad with the right characters, they're going to be completely insane. Like, completely insane and terrifying. Yeah, I can think of some good combos. But even on their own, they're so cheap for having some really, really nice powers. So easily B tier. I'll put them right here. I don't want to get too crazy with them. But yeah, Ayavita, again, I think she's a B tier. Maybe even C tier unit. We'll see. So for 19, you're getting someone with not much damage potential. Well, kind of. I think she's definitely maybe low B tier. I put her at C tier before, but great attack. She has stealth, so she can kind of jump on you. She'll be able to use paralysis, maybe cunning, poison. It's a lot of damage, but a lot of that damage is kind of like conditional. And paralysis is always good. So for 19 points, the only problem I have with her is that if she comes out of stealth, or if she approaches someone to kind of attack them, I feel like she'll get knocked out pretty fast, unfortunately. So I think I still want to put her as low B tier. I probably prefer these guys, but she kind of has her uses. If you use her right, she can be pretty cool. Bib Fortuna, so he could cost 7 with Jabba. Cunning. Excuse me. It's late while I'm recording right now. I'll probably go to bed right after this, so you have to excuse me. For 8-point piece, a melee person to be able to do 40 damage. It's actually kind of insane, to be honest with you. I don't love him. I'm going to put him in C tier. I just think that while the potential is kind of fun and nice, he could be a little good bodyguard for Jabba. He's going to get wrecked pretty quick. So I'll put him above the captain for sure. But even for an 8-point piece, doing 40 damage for an 8-point piece melee is kind of insane. Oof. I'll put him in C tier because he can be very cheap with Jabba. You just kind of throw him in. And if you just kind of keep him close by, even if you get one attack off for 8 points, it's kind of worth it. So I'll put him high B tier, high C tier. I'm kind of seeing him differently now. Biff Black Sun Vigo. So these guys are minimum high B tier. So like the other Vigos, which tend to be very nice, solid stats, bad attack though. So he's better against close people. Microvision's nice. And he has a lot of good things going. He has so many things: stealth, twin, mobile, evade. So it's like even if he's not in stealth, people aren't going to be able to hit him. And if he is in stealth, well, then you have evade to deal with too if you're not close enough. Advantages attack. Excuse me. So pretty good. I think I like the other Vigos just a hair more for what they offer. But I think giving people a stealth within 6 words of 8, it is good, but they already have stealth, so maybe it's not quite as necessary, but it's still pretty solid. I think I like these guys enough to stick them in low A tier, like bottom of A tier. Really fun units. You're not going to really go too wrong with these on your team. But with a bounty hunter, he is the next S tier. Sometimes I struggle, so I think with him, he's just one of the most ultimate shooters you could possibly get in the entire game. In fact, he might be the highest ranked shooter you could have. So amazing stats for a shooter. So having flight is great. You also have evade, so his defense is awesome, and mobile, so it's going to be hard to hit him. And when he comes out to shoot you, he can shoot whoever he wants. He will take apart unique characters. And then he has twin. So I guess you could say the one thing that's kind of a bummer about him is he's not going to do a lot of damage, but he will land the damage, and he's going to be hard to catch. And then if you get too close with groups, flamethrowers kind of nice to throw in there. So I think maybe it'd be nice to have missiles instead, or maybe even be able to attack a little bit more often. But I just think he's the best bounty hunter you can have. You can't ask for much more than this, and he's so much fun. I always have a ton of success when I use him too. Boshek is definitely a low character. So he's cheap for being able to have gunner and stealth and all these kinds of things. So I think if you mix him with the right units, he can be pretty good. But he's not a person I'm going to be mixing in with too much very often. So I'll put him. I think I'll put him above this guy. Yeah, that's appropriate. So if you put him in the right squad, mix him with the right things, he can be really helpful for mounted weapons or droids or that types of stuff. And he has stealth, so it'll be easy to conceal him. So I definitely think he has potential, but clearly a low C tier. Bosk Bounty Hunter. So one issue I have with all the bounty hunters in this whole set you're going to see, none of them have enough hit points. They're all going to get railed pretty quick. And the problem I have with him is he has all of these tools. You know, momentum, so he can run up and hit people good. And then if he hasn't died yet, he can stay where he's at. And he can use Double Claw and Rend. So I think he is a good character, a good piece, but he only has 60 hit points. And I just feel like he's going to get killed so quick. But then again, he's only 25. That's not too bad. I'm going to put him probably high B tier. He's not an A tier piece. The new Bosk after this from, I think it's from Dark Times, he's A tier for sure. But this Bosk is B tier. Like, I wouldn't, using him, I'd be totally fine. He does have a lot of good stuff going for him, though. And if you make the mistake of letting him be next to you, you'll pay for it. He's going to do so much damage. So he's definitely a problem in the melee setting, but if he's good at melee, then he needs something more than 60 hit points, but it is what he's got. So I like him more than these. I still like the Snow Speeder a little bit more, but I think he's in a good spot. Normal Bausch. So this Bausch is interesting because I wouldn't recommend using their melee attack. I just use their grenades if you can. Paralysis is nice to throw in, but for a 20-point piece to just be chucking grenades 40 around, that's pretty scary, honestly. I originally put him as C tier just because the stats are pitiful. All they're going to be doing is throwing some grenades, and you better hope you land some before they die. So having grenades 40 is great, but I'm just afraid they're too squishy to be able to do too much with it. I think for her, at best, she's going to be high C tier, maybe low B tier, because grenades 40 is good, but like it is, it's conditional, the damage is, and if it doesn't work, you're dead next turn. So, but she's only 20. That's not too bad. So I think I might even say low B tier. Like, you can do some fun things with the grenades 40 if you do it quite right, but we'll see. I'll leave top of C tier right now. I just don't know I'd see putting her too many squads. Man, this is a tough one. I'll do very bottom right there for now. Calo Nord, so similar issue. For 31 points, you don't have the best hit points, at least. That could be a hair better, but it's going to be hard to kill him. So he has Avoid Defeat, so that's going to be nice to try to have like a quarter chance of survival. And then Bounty Hunter's fine, Devil's fine, Grenades 20. So it's nice that he has Grenades 20, so it's something, but I feel like so much of who he is, like this cost is really being driven by Avoid Defeat, and Avoid Defeat is only going to work a little bit of the time. Of course, if you mix him in the right squad, his chances of succeeding is higher. But on his own, I don't love him. I'm gonna put him top of C tier because it kind of pains me. I think he's kind of a cool mini, and he has some interesting things going for him. Like, he can get some good firepower off on unique characters. A solid bounty hunter. So I said he has the option for grenades 20, but he's too expensive. He's just too expensive for what's going on here. But I'll even put him higher. 7-point piece doing 40 damage is a little insane, to be honest. I should maybe even bump up to B tier, but Carillion Pirate, I don't really care about these guys. Advantageous attack is conditional. Accurate shot's nice to have, but they're fine. They're just a C tier shooter, I guess. So let's see what we have. These guys up top. Probably prefer them over Boshek. Yeah, put them right there. Nah, I probably prefer moving that. I don't love them. It's nice that they have accurate shot. Don't get me wrong. It's always good to have, but other than that, they don't really set themselves apart. So let's see here. This guy's clearly top of B tier, just the very top. So he's not going to do much damage, really, in terms of like. He's a weird guy. He's a ranged person that you want to be doing melee attacks with. So getting stealth is good. He can get up to his targets. When he gets up to them, you can do Proboscis, which is going to be very, very nice, and especially if you maybe mix it with Cunning Attack. So you can do a lot of damage, you can hurt them, And then if you defeat a character, so if you plan it right, you know, you defeat an adjacent character and you're almost dead, you can come back to life and have him all the way back. So I think he's definitely really cool. Again, his damage output's a little limited. It's actually really limited, and it is sort of conditional, these types of powers. So I think at 23, he's definitely high B tier, but got a lot of fun potential. Dark Helion, Marauder on Swoop Bike. Again, I think these guys are B tier. I used to not think they're all that great, but if you think about what they have going for them, they're fast, they fly, they have mobile. So for 10 points, you're going to be flying around the map, shooting people. If you have a couple of these guys together, you can up their attack pretty easily. So I think they got lots of potential, and they have lots of room for improvement too. So definitely low B tier. I'll put in the very bottom of B tier. That sounds appropriate. Dark Helion, Swoop Game. So by themselves, I don't love these guys at all. I know they can be used to buff, but clearly a D tier shooter. I'm not interested in doing all of this stuff. Not interested in those guys. Devil Spy, these are all right, for shooter. You get some good stuff. You can put them on their own. They'll be able to have stealth, loner, cunning, evade. It's going to be hard to they're going to be a little finicky and annoying to get rid of, but really strong units. I think I originally put them in B tier. Yeah, that's just fine. I'll put them just below Dark Helion. I still like these guys just a little bit better. They can do some really nice things for what's going on. Dengar Bounty Hunter. So I unfortunately am going to have to put him probably top of just right there in C tier. So if you're not moving and you shoot someone, then you're going to be in good shape. Grenade 20 is all right. Nice to have deadly attack, because if he scores, he'll do 60 damage. Very strong. But he's going to die so fast. For 30 points, you're getting a shooter with 50 hit points. Oh my gosh, that's pretty bad. At least I'm not a fan of it. That's not going to work for me. So while he does have great damage potential, you got to be careful, because as soon as he gets out and he stays stationary, people are going to start lighting him up, and he's just going to get destroyed. He's going to get burned down quick. The Jasper, he sucks. I'll put him above him. So he's 19. Terrible hit point. Just bad stats. Having Bounty Hunter, I guess, can be helpful. Opportunist is nice. And double attack. So he's definitely all the way down here. I think I even prefer to have the quad from this. No good Bounty Hunter. I would never recommend him. The Assassin Droid, on the other hand, is pretty underrated. So for 32 points, you got great stats. And then against a specific target, say like one of their best players, you're going to have more attack. You'll have accurate shots. You'll be able to really just kind of zero in and knock out that particular enemy. It's still a B tier unit for sure, but I think there's some pretty nice stuff going on here. I'm going to put him just below Bosk. The more I think about Bosk, I think for B tier, that's a good place for him, but he's a really, really solid B tier. And these droids, if you set them up right, they're going to be doing work against the right units. Gamorrean Thug. So it's nice he does not have a heavy weapon, and he's a Jabba, so he can be a little cheaper. He's just kind of like it's going to be hard for him to hit things, but when he hits them, he's going to do a lot of damage. I think they're definitely a C tier unit. If you mix them in the right combinations, they can be pretty cool. And he's cheaper with Jabba, which is always good. But I'll put him just right down there. Gorendon, probably high B tier. So Spotter 30 is the only character with Spotter 30. So you can use stealth and kind of get close to your enemy. And then if you combine fire, that guy's going to get just completely railed with Spotter 30. So he's B tier just because you have to do a lot of setup. You have to kind of get into that position, use it. And if you're able to use it before something maybe doesn't go your way, you're going to be very happy. So I'm a fan of Gorendon. I'm going to put him probably just above these guys. Yeah, I like this droid more. But as a high B tier, using Spotter 30s can be pretty great. You just got to be able to figure out the right way to use it. A Human Blaster for hire. So there's a couple interesting things here. If you use them properly with Caesar or Vigo, then they can have up to grenades 20. Having grenades 20 on a piece that can shoot that costs 5 is kind of bonkers. So while I initially put these guys pretty low in D tier, I think for costing 5 and potentially getting grenades 20, I'm gonna have to say these guys are like top of C tier. So again, if you use them how they're meant to be, that's pretty scary, pretty scary. But if you don't, then they're more down here, to be honest. So I'll stick him just behind Bib. IG-88 Bounty Hunter. So pretty good. Lots of different weapons he has to use here. Against unique enemies, he will hit them. Devil's great. Opportunities can be really great. Excuse me. Sonic Center can be pretty cool, but I don't know if I want to use up his activation to do this particular power. I probably just want to use all the damage I can throw out. So I want to say A tier, but the only issue is I know the other one is definitely A tier deserving. And the problem I have with him is for how expensive he is, he doesn't have enough hit points. Again, he should have like 100, but he doesn't. And while these powers are really great, I prefer to just focus on the damage rather than using these. Flamethrower is most likely unnecessary, so I am going to say he is top of B tier just because if you set him up and get him in the right situations, right scenarios, he's going to be doing work for you. But I think he's a tad overrated, just a little bit. Jango Fett Bounty Hunter. So I am going to put this guy just behind Han. So very similar to Boba. It's a little cheaper, a little bit worse stats. And then in general, his stats are a little bit worse, meaning it's a weaker bounty hunter. He has double instead of twin. He does not have mobile. So that's kind of a bummer, but he has some other nice options too. So Jedi Hunter's really good. And Sniper. So this guy could really kind of pinpoint down enemy force users. Great against Jedi. He's going to be doing a lot of work against Jedi. And then I like having missiles as well. I think missiles is a little more useful than Flamethrower, but this guy's clearly top of A tier character. Fantastic against Jedi. A little squishier, so if you're not careful, you can hit him, and to be able to use double attack, you have to stay stationary. So I think both of these two could make a jump to S tier, but we'll see. Platooinian Hunter. Again, if you use them properly, for 11 points, they have a backup with grenades, but I don't like these guys quite as much as the human, because these are so cheap and you can have some good powers, but I think for this guy, I think low B tier is appropriate. So I'll put him at bottom of C tier. I don't love heavy weapon, and even though he can get good grenades, it's okay. So Kamari Vosa, you can call me crazy, but she belongs down in F tier. She's got several problems. One of those being her cost. It's the main problem actually, and the issue with her cost is this: for almost 50-point piece. Yeah, she has double and twin, that's great, but it's not the most impressive attack for a melee piece that's that expensive. It's nice that she has lightsaber so she can move up to people and use it. Control Minds is actually, it's not as good as it looks, to be honest. It's kind of a yikes. And for 47, she is one of the most overcosted characters in the entire game by far. I think they should scale her down to be like 7 points less, like a 40 or something. Because again, her stats are pretty bad for a character of this level, even with all the attacks. So I think Kamari Vosa is just grossly too expensive. Mystrial Shadow Guard is a B tier type bodyguard. They can do a lot. Fantastic attack. The thing that bothers me with them though is they can kind of even for two things. They can be assassins or guards. So if they're guards, you can place them in front. You can use bodyguard. You can use evade, which is really good. Melee reach 2 is also really good, so they can really do a good job protecting people, depending on where they're standing. And paralysis is great. So I think these shadow guards are very versatile. Can do lots of different really powerful things. Absolutely a fan of these. So first I put them low B tier. For 24 to only have 60 hit points isn't my favorite, but they also have evade. It's going to be hard to kill them. So I think these things are very, very, very underrated. So I'll put them just above the Snowspeeder. But below Danik Jericho. I kind of like some of his powers, even though she may even be better. I'll go like that. Mustafar Fleet Riders. These guys are kind of weird. They are a huge base with accurate shot. That's so strange. So if you don't move, you'll get 30 damage, more attack. That's great. But I don't love the fact that he's a huge base who's like basically supposed to be a sniper, which is kind of weird. So I think for him, I don't think, again, he's not like a bad unit. In my original tier list video, I put him in C tier. I think that's appropriate. I'll put him right here above. Yeah, put him right here above this guy. No, yeah, that's better. So the thing with this, he is very cheap, good stats, and the fact that he at least has accurate shot, and if he doesn't move, he's kind of staying in one spot. He can get some good shots off, and they're pretty quick, so he can get to a spot he likes and use it. Moves to front soldier, not as good. So they have sniper, which I don't prefer, and if they don't move, they can get some work done, which is really good. But overall, there's a lot of other characters I'd use for 12 instead of these guys, so I'll put them bottom. Nikto on Desert Skiff. What do these things do? Nothing. That's right, these things do nothing. So they have flight. Desert Skiff is kind of shady. Mounted weapon. Rapport. Only one less from Jabba's in there. Not good. Rigid. Speed 8. So they're kind of fast. They can fly. They can carry units in and out of situations, but terrible stats and defense. These things get blown up so fast. So even with all their kind of like interesting bells and whistles, I'm going to have to put these guys down all the way down in D tier. I think a very problematic unit, but definitely looks cool. Nim. Nim is A tier. I'm a big fan of Nim. Let's see here. Not one of those. Nim is right there. I'm going to put him above Card and above Leia. So I think what he does for mercenaries is just so incredible. So mercenaries are typically stuck in position and they can't move. He gives them double attack, which really, really kind of helps. One of their big problems is that not being able to move. He has recon, awesome stats. He has grenades 40 or a double attack with 30 damage. So, depending on how you're wanting to feel it out, if someone's close to you, this guy's got so many different pieces of stuff that's working for him. That's pretty awesome. Quorum Bounty Hunter. It's gonna be kind of a longer video, I see. Pretty good, If they don't move, they can get a lot of attack. They don't cost too much. It's going to be easy for them to get their grenades unlocked. So I think these guys are pretty solid overall. Not incredible, but just solid. I'll say bottom of B tier for these. If you mix them right, they're good. Roading Huntmaster, I don't like these guys as much. For 22 points, not my favorite. It's nice to have Deadeye, I guess, and giving any followers Deadeyes, whatever, but clearly for me, this guy misses the mark. So I'm going to put him low, probably pretty low C tier. I'd probably prefer this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'll leave him right where he's at. They're all right. Not my favorite. So this guy's interesting. So he has stealth. So it's going to be easy for him to approach targets. He has cleave, melee, double. So I like what this version of Lando's doing in general. If he gets up to like groups of weaker units, he can really kind of knock them out systematically. However, he just has some things that are holding him back. Like 50 hit points, really? He's going to get killed pretty quick. There's characters who are the same cost that are melee that have much far better stuff. But I know they're adjusting it against cleave and double and stealth. Those are really good. But for me, he's clearly a C tier unit. Where did I put him? I originally put him in B tier. I'll put him top of C tier just for the amount of stuff he can do. But I kind of don't love it. So Tusken Raider Sniper. For 8-point piece, you get someone who, if they don't move, has really good stats, really good things for him. Sniper is okay. It only comes in play sometimes. It's better to have accurate shot, but don't hate it at all. It's fine. I think I'd probably still even prefer to use these things instead. I'll put the Sniper down here, just about both check. For 8 points, it's actually a pretty good shooter for 8 points for the most part. Utapone on Dactylian. Again, the cool thing of him reminds me of a Flash Speeder and also in some ways Rebel Speeder. Decent stats for 30 damage, and they don't have melee. So these guys can move around very quickly. They can dish out some damage and then kind of move back somewhere else. So I think these are an A tier huge unit. So I'm going to put them bottom of A tier. I think that's appropriate. For only 27 points, you're getting a pretty mobile, hard-hitting shooter. what can't you like about that? It's really strong, and they have flight and mobile. Do they have mobile? Gotta make sure they got mobile attack. They do. So yeah, good powers all around. Weak wave leader. I'm gonna scoot up a little bit. So, these guys to me are kind of disappointing. So for 13 points, it's decent stats for a melee guy. If he's not dead, you can use swing. Cleave could be nice in certain situations, and then giving any followers mighty swing, so kind of those melee people can be more powerful. That's good and all, but he's clearly a low tier unit. I'm not a big fan of these guys. I originally rated them. I originally rated them lower than these. That sounds fine. Yeah, I'll put them just right down there. I'll put Spook Bolshek actually. Not too big of a fan. I like some of the other melee units in here. Weak Way Thug. Okay, I think this guy is useless. So he can shoot. He's really just there to be a gunner. That's all he's this, just to provide that extra attack to his huge units. So, okay, where is he? He is down here. He's going to be bottom of D tier. No interest in these guys. Young Crate Dragon. So, the thing I love about this is it's very, in some ways, it's similar to the Reek. He's a hair cheaper, but he can do 50 damage on his approach, and he's faster. So, I think this guy is just, in general, bottom of, he's better than Uda Pound on Dectilin. I think these guys are awesome. So, they can run up 50 damage. It's probably going to be enough to probably knock it out. But for 50 points, it is a little pricey, but you can make these things pretty awesome. Original Zekis. So, got a lot of things I like. So, I like how he has bounty, accurate, and intuition. These all go well together so he can get the shots off that he needs. Not a lot of damage output. He can be a little cheaper with Forlom. I think this Zekis, I hope I didn't originally put him. Okay, I originally put him low B tier. He's got some good things going for him, but he has pretty crummy hit points in defense, unfortunately. So, he's a B tier unit. I think I prefer him over these guys. Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave him right there. A decent bounty hunter, but not my favorite. Alright, so Basilisk War Droid. We're almost done with these. This guy's pretty good. So, he's very expensive. You know, you're getting hit points, damage, and then he has strafe and speed 10. So this guy can just go ahead and move a good distance and really blast everybody in his way. After that, he'll probably die. But I think these guys are definitely high. If you set up the strafe attack, it's just one of the more ultimate versions of strafe attack, as opposed to the speeder bikes. Their strafe attack's not as cool, if you ask me. But this guy is clearly a B tier. I think I prefer him over these units, even the Dark Helion, even Ayurveda. I think they're pretty cool. I'll leave him right there, just above Chewie. Very strong. Mandalore the Indomitable. So I always think this guy has melee attack. He doesn't. You can use him to shoot. He's got evade, so it's going to be great. Deadly attacks are twice as likely to do 60 damage. Very strong. And if he approaches you, you're screwed. So, and Mandalorian always gain momentum. This can be underrated power in some ways. But I think for him, he's definitely not S tier unit. I think he's just so expensive. Even for what he does, he's just so expensive. But he's definitely A tier, and I'd probably put him just behind these two. They're more versatile. Blade Master, not a fan. So I like how they have parry and twin. So like, they are going to be annoying to deal with and kind of a problem. So I definitely think we'll put these guys high up in C tier. For being 18 and having parry, it's not bad. But that's all you got. I'll put them right there. Okay, Mandalorian Commander. I think these guys are high A tier at minimum. So this is the Commander. Very, very strong. So let's see here. I'm going to put him just above Leia. Yeah. So what you have here is you have a guy that's expensive. Not the best stats for how expensive he is, but his commander effect is incredible. Mandalorian allies gain mobile attack. The implications of that are pretty wild. Totally wild. And if you mix it with Quodroma has mobile attack, I guess, but I think these guys are A. What they're giving is so incredible to the Mandalorians that I forgive them of anything else that's going on that doesn't work out. Soldiers, don't love these guys. They're just, for 16 points, it's not bad. You'll have double and Deadeye, but I think in my original preparation video I made for this, I put these guys, yeah, still in C tier. They definitely don't wow me too much. So I'm going to even stick just about the Blade Master. I like the Blade Master has the parry. I kind of forget about that sometimes. Super Commando. So basically what you're paying is for stats. I think these guys got incredible stats. Amazing shooters. And they're very easy to modify with the Mandalorians because the Mandalorians is a small team. It's pretty easy to get all the characters you need. And so if this guy had a mobile attack, for example, goodbye. You're done. So I'm going to put these guys up here in A. I think they're really, really strong as like a really, really strong, non-unique character that's just amazing stats for 23. Mandalorian Warrior. So I prefer the Blade Master. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to stick him kind of low. I'm going to put him above this ISB Speeder still. For only 14 points, that's pretty good. Just got to make sure you figure out how to use it the right way. And then last but not least is Forlon Bounty Hunter. So he's one of my favorite bounty hunters because I think he's definitely A tier. And while I think that some of the other people may be a little bit better, he has some cool things going for him. So he's going to have high attack against unique enemies. Rapport is okay. It'll be a little cheaper, I guess. Bounty Hunter's good. Paralysis is something I really love. So the other one doesn't have paralysis, and he is better overall. But in general, I think he's definitely a solid A tier character. Being able to have that paralysis is huge. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for Bounty Hunters video. Pretty good. I think we got a pretty good setup here. It's a little bit more mixed. Maybe not quite as hot as Universe or Champions of the Force was. But lots of fun units here. Again, these guys I'm considering sticking them up to S tier. I'll put Han at S tier just to kind of balance it out a little bit more. But incredibly powerful all the way around characters. So yeah, again, thank you very much for joining. If you haven't yet, please check out some of the older videos on the channel, and please subscribe as well so you can do that. And I think I'll leave it at that. Again, I want to give credit to the Rebel Scum Photo Archive for the images that I've been using, and just make sure that everyone knows that's where they're coming from. And then also, please check out Blue Milk if you want to see a lot more information about Star Wars miniatures. But I think this will do it. Great set. Really fun characters. I have most of the characters in this set, and it's a lot of fun. Still need to get the young Crate Dragon and the Mandalorian, this Mandalorian at least, but very awesome. But anyways, without further ado, I will see you all later.